Joining me now here on Locked On College Football is Eric Cain to discuss Tennessee versus the NCAA. Is that going to make it to the Supreme Court one day? I don't know. Nothing seems out of the realm of possibility at this point. Locked On Vols host here at the network. Eric, you're closer to the situation than I am. What is kind of the feeling surrounding this NCAA coming down on Tennessee's NIL and the Vols athletic department collectively pushing back and going, excuse me, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Well, it's Tennessee's been here for the last 3 or 4 years, right? Or 2.5 years, 3 years. It just had an NCAA investigation resolved, an NCAA investigation that, former football coach was paying recruits. And by the way, the alleged impermissible benefits in terms of added up to $60,000, which is just hilarious in the grand scheme of things.
Oh man, that's so much money in today's world of college football.
But anyway, I mean, Tennessee did that investigation for the NCAA, spent about $1.5 million, and took its punishment and moved on, and here we are again. And it's simply put, it's the NCAA trying to stay relevant. It's the NCAA trying to punish successful collectives. It's NCAA trying to turn the clock back 10 years, and it's just not going to happen. There were no guardrails. There were no, there's 437 manual about how to go about to navigate name, image, and likeness, but it was all vague and it was all, impenetrable, and that's kind of what Tennessee's defense is right now. So it just kind of is what it is. The whole thing's very petty, but it does feel like Tennessee's got a lot of support. Obviously, you won't see statements from the chancellor, the president, the Knox County mayor, the governor, senators, and everybody else, if they weren't prepared for this, if they weren't ready to go. I think it's pretty firm that Tennessee's kind of drew its line in the sand and said, hey, we're not going to back down, and you're not going to make Tennessee the example for, everybody else around the country is doing the same exact thing we are. So that's kind of the stance here from within. It seems like Tennessee's getting a lot of support even from, rival schools and programs, because everybody should be rooting for Tennessee right now because they don't want the NCAA coming and investigating them because everybody's doing the same thing. So that's kind of been a lot of the talk here at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, I feel like everyone is on Tennessee's side. You can count me in that particular camp because the alleged violation is, well, NIL collectives can't recruit high school kids, but they can make arrangements. But you're violating a rule that was from 2018. We're going to enforce that. There's just no clarity, no consistency or anything. And I liked what you said about these instances feel like the NCAA trying to remain relevant when, as we saw earlier in today's, as I was talking about earlier on today's show with the case up at Dartmouth and those basketball players being ruled employees of the school, these are major steps towards minimizing or completely obliterating the NCAA's influence in college athletics. And I think that this case against Tennessee is just, I've never done such a massive switch in about a 2-month span on a particular school and football program, because I was railing against Tennessee all season long, just in the sense that them being ranked to me was an abomination and I did not care for it. I still do not care for it after they lost back-to-back games by a score of 76-17 or whatever it was. It was ugly. They didn't have quality wins, and now I have completely flipped the script and I'm the biggest Vols supporter out there, man. It's crazy how the NCAA thinks they're going about this in a way that makes them look good when anyone from the outside can see, this is not what you should be doing here. No one's asking for this. You're not making anything better.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I understand everything that's going on. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to law school. I mean, there's a lot of that. But I mean, I've been poring over these responses and these, letters and everything and just trying to make sense of it. And I've been listening to people who are a lot smarter than me and kind of dissect it. And I mean, pretty much everybody's just sitting here saying, listen, the NCAA is just, grasping at straws right now, doing whatever it can. I mean, it's losing court case after losing court case, and just lost one in Virginia, or West Virginia, about the unlimited transfer, waiver, which I hate so much for college football. But again, it's a battle that the NCAA just lost, and it's going to lose this one, in my opinion. And, again, I don't like, Tennessee fans shouldn't be thrilled that, once again, you're kind of going through the ringer. I wouldn't want my school that I'm a fan of being kind of the poster boy in terms of the NCAA trying to make an example out of, yet everybody is kind of rallying around Tennessee and paying very much close attention to what the outcome of this is going to be. In terms of 2024, I don't think anything changes whatsoever. I mean, no, they've been on campus for months. They've been investigating. They've been reading phone records and, reading text messages and all that. No coach, no player, per the NCAA, has been found to be, in any wrongdoing at Tennessee right now. It's straight up going after the collective and trying to say that the collective broke rules that weren't in place during that limbo period of July 1st, 2021 and May 22nd of 2022. That limbo period where the NCAA said, hey, we're going to go back and retroactively, punish programs for breaking rules that weren't in place at that time. That's what this all is. And it's the NCAA doing anything and everything it can to stay relevant, and I just don't think it's going to work out for them.
Tennessee's been working to stay relevant in the SEC, a now more crowded SEC with Oklahoma and particularly Texas, in my view, in the Southeastern Conference now. What do you make of the Vols offseason? 9-4 year under Josh Heupel, not quite up to what 2022 was for the Vols there in Knoxville, but still a quality year. How do you assess what Josh Heupel and his staff have done this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's been a good job of attacking the portal in terms of you had some big needs, right? You needed a tight end. Absolutely needed a tight end because you play two in your system, both graduated. You have a rising redshirt freshman that's going to come up. He's the most experienced guy in the room, so you needed somebody else to pair with him. And you go out and get a guy like Holden States that's got plenty of experience from Notre Dame. I like that. Lance Hurd from LSU. It's a stacked offensive line for LSU, and 4 of those returning starters decided to come back on the offensive line, including a pair of really good tackles. And you take Lance Hurd, that was the highest rated signing player in the class of 2023 for LSU, a former 5-star who got his toes wet a little bit as a true freshman. You add him into the mix now. I thought that's huge because Tennessee lost a starting tackle in Gerald Mincey. Jackson Moy on defensive front, Chris Brazzell, the second at wide receiver from Tulane, who I'm a big believer in, a big playmaking ability down the field. You look at the numbers he put up as a true freshman. Jermon McCoy, freshman All-American at Oregon State. He'll be a day one starter, in my opinion. I think Tennessee's done a nice job of saying where the holes were in its roster. Maybe not holes, but weaknesses in terms of you need a plug and play. You need a plug and play. You need a guy that can come in and play now, but also could be here next year. And Tennessee addressed a lot of those areas. And you complement that with a veteran offensive line coming back. Some running backs you feel good about, a lot of receivers coming back, and a quarterback, and this is all offensively, a quarterback that you feel good about, Nico Iamaleava. And I think Tennessee's kind of won its offseason for sure in preparations for 24.
Yeah, that McCoy addition from Oregon State's a really good one. When the Beavs thought Jonathan Smith would hang around, that was a guy that they certainly were counting on defensively, and I think he steps in as a day one starter for the Vols and an impact player. Lastly, as we wrap up here, Eric, this will be the third different quarterback for the Vols in the last 3 years. Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton now on to Nico Iamaleava, the former 5-star recruit. What do the Vols need from him this year to contend in the SEC?
Yeah, you had Hendon for 2 years, and he was fantastic, and Joe Milton was kind of that bridge to let Nico kind of settle in, learn the environment, watch, hold a clipboard, all that type of stuff. And then he stepped in the Citrus Bowl and looked really good. Didn't have to be Superman through the air, but was really dynamic on the ground, extending plays, calling some design run plays. And I just think that he brings an extra playmaking element to the offense that Joe Milton lacked this year. He's really smart, makes the right reads. He can make any throw on the football field. But again, he can extend plays. He senses, when to step up in the pocket, when to evade pressure, and make some plays on the run. And I think that's something that Tennessee, severely lacked in the offense this year. So, he was the hype man coming out in that really talented quarterback class of 2023. He was one of the 4 or 5 quarterbacks, along with Arch Manning, Dante Moore, and some of those other guys as well, Malachi Nelson. I'm looking to see if he can kind of produce there. It's a first-year starter in 2024, and if the Citrus Bowl was any indication, I think Tennessee fans are really going to enjoy him. So, looking forward to it. Again, got a toy wide receiver, got a nice left tackle to make you feel good. Got a couple pieces to kind of surround him and help him succeed in 2024 for Tennessee.
And an offensive head coach as well. That certainly never hurts. Eric Cain, Locked On Vols. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate the time.
Hey, Spence, thanks so much, man.
More quarterbacks you should be aware of that can make more noise than you think next year.